quick thank you to our sponsors for making this podcast possible. They keep this show free to listen to.
This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace.
Last year, I went through many different life changes. I needed to take a pause and examine how I was feeling in the inside to better show up for the ones who need me to be my best version of myself.
When you're navigating life's changes, Talkspace can help. Talkspace is the #1 rated online therapy, bringing you professional support from licensed therapists and psychiatry providers that you can access anytime, anywhere.
Living a busy life, navigating a long-distance relationship, becoming a first-step father, Talkspace made all of those journeys possible. I could speak with my therapist in the office. I could speak with my therapist in the comfort of my home. I was never alone.
Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance, no problem. Now get $80 off your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Thanks for joining me on the Peace and Parenting podcast. I'm so glad you're here. You have the intense one, the challenging one, the spirited one, the one with the issues, the orchid child. And you love them. Of course you love them. But somewhere quietly, privately, where no one can see, you have started to wonder if something is wrong with them, or maybe with you, or maybe with both of you. If you are here today, you are already doing something right, because most parents will not say this out loud or even think about it or even entertain it. So today I'm going to walk you through what is actually happening when you have a child who's hard, why labels become destinies, and why the very word problem child is doing damage to the kid you are trying to help, and what to do about it starting today. Let me tell you a little story. It's a story of Esme when she was little. She was the loud one. She was big. She filled every room. She fought with me. She fought with the world. And she required all of my parenting energy because she demanded it. And the hardest part of our day was getting her dressed in the morning. As a little kid, she didn't want to. So I would threaten her, and then I would yell at her, and then I would scare her into doing what I asked her to do. And by the time we walked out the door, the three of us, me, Esme, and our little sister Pia, were sad and angry and wiping tears the whole way to school. And I remember walking past other families and asking myself, is this normal? Is this how it's supposed to work? Is everybody as upset and angry as I am? Eventually, I decided it wasn't normal, but not because I looked at myself, of course. I looked at her. I decided something's wrong with my daughter. And we needed to figure out what it was. We needed a diagnosis so we could fix her. So I went and got one. I took her to occupational therapy in a big industrial building in the valley. They put her through these assessments, and they came back with a label: tactile defensiveness disorder, and a treatment plan. And here's the part I'm not proud of. Here's the part that I want you to hear, and maybe I'm not alone. When they handed me the diagnosis and I read it, I felt relief, because it meant the problem was her and not me. That is what I felt. I felt relief. I had a label for my child, and that label let me off the hook. It allowed me to blame her. So we did the brushing protocol. We did everything they told us, and nothing changed. Not because the problem was not a disorder. The problem was that I had stopped seeing my daughter and started seeing her as a defect, something that needed to be fixed. It took me a long time to understand what I had really done. I had not gone looking for help for my child. I had gone looking for proof that she was the problem. Drop a yes in the chat if you've ever, even quietly, just for a second, wished someone would tell you what was wrong with your child so you could fix it. Unknowingly, I had been doing the same thing to my Pia, my youngest. From the day she was born, she was different. She was watchful. She was quiet. She was easy. People told me, wow, you're so lucky. At least the second one balances out the first one. And I believed it. For years, I told myself how lucky I was to have one hard one and one easy one. That was a story I lived in. And then one afternoon, when Pia was about 3 years old, she said something to me that I will never forget. She said, Mom, you don't have to worry about me. I do it on my own. And I said something like, I know, baby, you always do. That was the day I realized that I had been calling the easy one was actually the one who was disappearing. I want to remind you of something before we go any further. I was a teacher and a counselor for 13 years before I had children. I worked with kids from kindergarten through high school. I had spent more than a decade studying how children develop, how relationships shape them, how attention, how attention either feeds or starves or their child's sense of self. And I still did this. I still unknowingly labeled my kids. I spent the first years of Esme's life threatening her, treating her like a project, the thing to be managed, the behavior to be corrected, the problem to be solved. She was always my issue. So if you've done this, and if you're doing it right now, or if you are having a hard time getting out of this, there's nothing wrong with you. It's one of the most invisible patterns in parenting. It's so invisible that even people who are trained to see it miss it. And I did for years with my own kids. Here's the lie most of us were sold. We were told some kids are just difficult. Some kids are wired wrong. Some kids need more discipline, more consequences. You need to parent them differently. And a lot of times when I hear people say we need to parent them differently, they'll say, oh, the strong one needs more punishments. And the one who is quieter doesn't need the punishments. If your child's hard, you have to be harder. That's the thought. If they push, you have to push back even more. If they explode, you have to contain them. That's what good parenting looks like, according to conventional ideas. But I've tried all that, and I don't know if you have, but it doesn't work. The label is not telling you the truth about your child. The label is telling you what you have run out of. A child's not a problem. The child is actually a relationship. Difficult is not a personality trait. It's a parent saying, I don't understand what's happening here. I'm out of patience. I've run out of tools. I do not know what to do with this child anymore. That's real. And I've been there. I get it. But the moment we put the label on the child instead of on the situation is hard, right? The child isn't hard. We've done two things. We've made the child the source of the problem, and we've made ourselves powerless to fix it. Because you can't fix a personality. If your child is just difficult, there's nothing to do. And here's the part that takes parents a minute. The behavior we call difficult, the explosions, the refusal, the meltdown, it's all just communication. Your child's telling you something. They're telling you you are overwhelmed. They're telling you you are not regulated. They're telling you you can't hold it together 1 minute longer. They're not giving you a hard time. And we've heard this all the time, right? They're having a hard time. They don't mean to do this. They're not doing it on purpose. That's not bad behavior. That's a child that doesn't have a voice to express the way they're feeling or what's happening inside of them. And here's the cost of the label. When we keep calling them the difficult one, the spirited one, the intense one, they actually hear us. They believe us. And we begin interacting with that kind of programming. And they begin to live inside the role we have given them. They become the thing we have told them that they really are. When you think about your child right now, think about the child that's hard for you, the one that brought you to this training. The label is heavy. It's heavy for you. It's heavy for them. And we're going to talk about exactly why and exactly what we can do, because it doesn't have to remain like that. And it becomes us changing our mindset, changing the way we come to them, changing the way in which we parent. And that's what we do at Peace in Parenting. That's what I do with my clients every single day. That's what we do in coaching. We change mindsets. We begin to look at our children as children instead of as problems, because that's what they are. If you are ready to change your mindset, okay, let me put some science under this. Rosenthal and Jacobs' classic 1968 study, Pygmalion in the Classroom, demonstrated that when adults are led to believe certain children are exceptional, those children measurably outperform their peers, purely because of an expectation. The reverse is also documented. When adults expect a child to be a problem, that child's behavior moves toward the expectation. That adult's belief becomes the child's reality. We don't want that in our programming. We want to see children as children. We want to see them as just merely operating in their own world. So in plain English, when you call your child the difficult one, even silently, you are not describing just them. You're shaping who they are or who they might become. And it cuts the other way too. When you stop calling them difficult and start treating them as a child who is struggling, who needs help, they shift. Certainly not overnight, but they do, because your expectations are part of the way in which they come to this world. The same line of research tells us that when one child consistently gets less of the warmth, even unintentionally, that child is the one whose adolescence gets harder. Not the loud one, the quiet one. The disappearing child grows up. And often what they take with them into adulthood is the belief that love has to be earned by not being the problem. Now, here's the broader research on what actually works. When researchers looked at the behavior of children whose parents respond with warmth and connection versus parents who respond with harsh discipline across hundreds of studies, dozens of countries over decades, the findings are not subtle. Picard's 2017 analysis integrated findings from 1,435 studies on parenting and child behavior problems. The pattern's consistent. Parental warmth, autonomy and support, and an authoritative parenting style were associated with fewer externalizing problems. Harsh discipline and psychological control were associated with more. Across 1,435 studies. That's not a little bit of science, that's a lot. Connection works, warmth works. Harshness makes everything worse, including the behavior we're trying to fix. Okay, let's think about our own childhood for a second. Did anyone label you growing up? Were you called the smart one, the lazy one, the loud one, the sensitive one? Write it in the chat. Which one were you? No answer's wrong. And we were all labeled something, I think. I was the difficult one for sure. Oh, Araminta, there we are, the difficult ones. Here we go. The good one, Tim, the loud one, too much, too quiet, lazy, loud. Tracy says quiet, sensitive, and difficult. Joy says the wild one, sensible. We all got the label. Why? Why do we have the label? Whatever came up, notice how fast it came to you. Notice how much that label has carried with you. Since you were a kid, you still have it. My difficult one came right out of my mouth so easily. That's what we're doing to our kids when we let that label stick. This isn't to blame us or to blame our parents. It's just to have awareness, to be aware just of exactly what we're doing. Here are 5 patterns that quietly turn a child who's struggling into a child who has been labeled. I see these every week in coaching. I have done all 5 of them myself. 1, comparison. You think, why isn't he like his brother or his sister? Why can't she just be easy like the other one? Children pick up on this, even when you don't say it, but they can read your actions, your expressions. They feel which sibling or which version of themselves on a good day you respond to with delight and which ones you don't. Here's the fix. Stop measuring this child against any other version of any other child. They just are who they are. 2, expectation accounting. Asking for regulation they have not been given. You expect your child to walk into a hard situation and self-regulate. Sit still, wait their turn, use their words, be polite, manage their disappointment. But they can't do it on all the days, and they can't do it in all of their phases of development. It's not even physically possible. So regulation is not part of our personality. It's a skill we learn over time, and skills are built through our developmental stages, not in the middle of a meltdown. They're built in low stakes moments. Your child cannot draw on regulation they haven't been given yet. Number 3, treating the behavior as the message instead of the messenger. Instead of screaming gets the consequence, refusal gets the punishment, meltdown gets the timeout, we respond to what's on the surface, the behavior. We're missing what's underneath. Exhaustion, overwhelm, dysregulation, hunger, friend issues, teacher issues, sibling issues. Something's going on. What's the message? What is this child telling me? That's the question we should be asking. Number 4, naming your child to themselves. You're so dramatic. You're impossible at bedtime. Every one of those sentences is a label being handed to your child as if it were the truth about them. They believe us and they live inside the role we gave them. The fix, never describe who they are. Describe what's happening. Not you are impossible at bedtime, but oh, bedtime's really tough for us tonight, isn't it? This sentence keeps the door open to we're having a hard time. You're not the hard time. Number 5, apologizing in advance for one child to other adults. Oh, she's our wild one. Oh, he's the one we worry about. Oh, we'll see you in a minute. He's a handful. We say this at school pickups, at dinners, playground. Our children hear us and they file it away as the truth about themselves and in front of every other adult in their life. The fix, in our house, we don't define the children to outsiders. We say, in our house, all our kids are just figuring themselves out. We love them all through it. Today, we're having a hard time with this. Today, we're having a hard time with that. So these 5 things, silent comparisons, expectation accounting, treating behavior as the message, naming and apologizing, these are how parents actually create the problem child. None of them came from not loving your child. All of them came from a culture that has taught us that children need to be managed, that they aren't just children doing children things. Now, let's talk about what actually works. The single most powerful tool I have for this, for the labeled child, for the kid who has been hard for years, or for the one who's way too quiet, for the family stuck in the cycle after cycle of explosion and consequence, is special time. Special time is one-on-one. It is not a family activity. It is not, let's all hang out together and watch a movie. There are rules to special time. It's timed. It is kid-driven. They get to decide what you're doing, not you. You do not get an agenda. Only they do. We don't teach, we don't correct, we don't fix, and we just be with our kids for 20 minutes. I suggest you do it 3 times a week, but I really suggest you do it 7 times a week if you can, because this is where our problem child doesn't feel like the problem anymore. For the child who has been labeled the problem, special time is the message they've been waiting for their whole life. I see you separately from your behavior. I want to be with you. I want to connect with you. I want to do what you're interested in. For the quiet child, special time is also the same message. I see you. I want to do what you're interested in. You don't just have to be quiet. You get to have a voice. You get to say what we're doing. You get to ask for your connection. When I started doing this with Esme, really doing it, setting the timer, putting my phone away, asking what she wanted, within about 4 weeks, the behavior I had been calling difficult started to soften. No joke. Not because I punished her or threatened her, but because I gave her enough connection to come out of survival mode. She was constantly in a brain that was offline. This helped her come back online. What I've been telling myself was that Esme was difficult personality, was actually a child whose nervous system had no resources left. She was constantly in alert. And special time, it's not a reward. It's not a treat. You do not take it away when behavior gets bad and give it when behavior is good. It is everything. It is water. It is food. It is connection. It is essential. There's a second tool. It is the language tool. I try not to say, why are you like this? I try not to say, you're being so difficult. I try not to describe my child in those ways. I try to be very simple and say we're having a hard time. And in our house, we make space for the person in front of us. Forces me to look at the child today in this moment. Not the child of yesterday's tantrum, not the child who had a fight with her sister 2 hours ago. The child right here in front of my face right now is having a hard time. Okay, this week, the next time you're about to describe one of your kids in front of the other, pause. Don't say it. Just don't. That little tiny act of restraint will start to reshape your kids' identities and reshape the way you think about your child. Because if you can stop yourself from thinking that way, you can also stop yourself from saying those things. Then it doesn't become part of your reality anymore. Okay, your roadmap this week. Here's your practical roadmap, 5 steps. Schedule special time with the child you have been calling difficult or the child that you've been calling easy, or in my mind, special time with everybody. At least 10 minutes. At least 3 times a week. In a perfect world, 7 days a week for 20 minutes. I know that sounds like a lot, but that isn't a lot. The benefits you're going to get will be incredible. Step 2, stop using the label out loud and in your head. More difficult one, spirited, my hard kid, my independent one, my quiet one. Just their name. Pia, Esme, just their name. This one's having a hard time right now. Step 3, ask the question underneath the behavior. When the explosion happens, before you respond, ask yourself, what is my child actually trying to tell me right now? Just to yourself. You think to yourself, what are they trying to tell me? They're trying to tell me something. What could it possibly be? Step 4, notice the next time you describe them to somebody else. At pickup, at dinner, with your in-laws, I need to work on this one. The next time you start to say, he's the wild one, say something else. He's figuring it out like all of us. The sentence buys your child their identity back. And number 5, repair when you can. If you have a child who's been carrying a label for years, name it out loud. To say to them, I think I've been treating you like the hard one for a long time. I'm sorry. You're not the problem. You're my kid. I want to know what's actually going on for you. Okay. Try this week. Pick the child this training brought you here for. Schedule a 20-minute special time if you can. And in the next 72 hours, and then put it on your calendar like a meeting that you have to do. Don't move it. Don't not do it. It's like water. It's like food. You have to. It's connection. Thank you for joining me on the Peace in Parenting podcast. I'll see you next time. Hey there, Peace in Parenting family. If you love the podcast but wish to enjoy it without interruptions, your wish has come true.
Introducing the ad-free version of the Peace in Parenting podcast, available exclusively on Apple Podcast. As a subscriber, you'll get all the heartfelt advice, parenting stories, and actionable tips you love without any ads. For less than the cost of a coffee each month, you will enjoy uninterrupted listening while also supporting our work to help you build stronger connections with your kids. Try it out for free. Simply find Peace in Parenting on Apple Podcasts, click Try Free, and you'll gain immediate access to our ad-free episodes. There's no commitment and you can cancel anytime. So if you're ready for a more peaceful, uninterrupted listening experience, subscribe now. Let's keep focusing on connection without the distractions.